Ezra chapter 2. Nebuchadnezzar had taken many Jews away from the land of Judah. He had forced them to go to Babylon as prisoner. Now they returned to Jerusalem and Judah. All of them went back to their own towns. Nebuchadnezzar was king of Babylon. The leaders of the Jews included Zerubbabel, Joshua, Nehemiah, Sariah, and Leliah. They also included Mordecai, Bilshan, Mispar, Bigvai, Rehum, and Baana. He is a list of the men of Israel who returned home. There were 2,172 from the family line of Parosh. There were 372 from Shesbatiah. There were 775 from Arah. There were 2,812 from Pahas Moab through the family line of Joshua and Joab. There were 100,254 from Elam. There were 945 from Jathu. There were 660 from Jekai. There were 642 from Bani. There were 623 from Bebai. There were 1,222 from Asgad. There were 666 from Adonikam. There were 2,056 from Bigvai. There were 454 from Adin. There were 98 from Ether through the family line of Hezekiah. There were 323 from Bezai. There were 112 from Zorah. There were 223 from Hashem. There were 95 from Gibar. There were 123 from the men of Bethlehem. There were 56 from Netopah. There were 128 from Anatoth. There were 42 from Azmaveth. There were 743 from Kiriath Jearim, Kipria, and Beeroth. There were 621 from Ramah and Geba. There were 122 from Michmash. There were 223 from Bethel and Ai. There were 52 from Nevo. There were 156 from Magvish. There were 1,254 from the other Elam. There were 320 from Harim. There were 725 from Lot, Hadid, and Ono. There were 345 from Jericho. There were 3,630 from Shenai. Here is a list of the priests. There were 973 from the family line of Jenai through the line of Joshua. There were 1,052 from Emil. There were 1,247 from Pashur. There were 1,017 from Harim. Here is a list of the Levites. There were 74 from the family lines of Joshua and Kadmiel. Kadmiel was from the line of Hodaviah. Here is a list of the musicians. There were 128 from the family line of Asaph. Here is a list of the men who guarded the gates. There were 139 from the family lines of Shalom, Atar, Talam, Akub, Hatita, and Shovai. Here is the list of the member of the family line of the temple servants: Jiha, Hashupah, Tabaoth, Karish, Shahai, Padan, Levana, Hagava, Akub, Hagab, Sharmai, Anan, Gidel, Gahar, Loia, Lazim, Dakota, Gazam, Uzzah, Pasiya, Bezai, Asna, Mu'unim, Nepushim, Bakdug, Hakupah, Harhul, Bazult, Mahia, Harsha, Barkosh, Sisera, Tamah, Nizia, Happipah. Here is a list of the members of the family line of the servants of Solomon: Sotai, Hasopereth, Peruda, Jaladarkon, Gidel, Shephatiah, Hatit, Pokereth, Hazebine, Ami. The total number of the members of the family line of the temple servants and the servants of Solomon was 392. Many people came up to Judah from the towns of the Tel Melah, Tel Harsha, Kerub, Adon, and Imel, but they were not able to prove that their families belonged to the people of Israel. There were 652 of them from the family lines of the Deliah, Toviah, and Nekoda. Here is the list of the members of the family lines of the priests. They were Obiah, Hagos, and Barzillai. Barzillai had married a daughter of Barzillai from Gilead, so he was also called Barzillai. The priests looked for their family records, but they couldn't find them, so they were not able to serve as priests. They were unclean. The governor gave them an order. He told them not to eat any of the most sacred food. They had to wait until there were a priest who could use the Urim and Thummim. The priest would use them to find out what the Lord wanted the people to do. The total number of the entire group that returned was 42,360. That didn't include their 7,337 male and female slaves. There were also 200 male and female singers, and there were 736 horses, 245 mules, 435 camels, and 6,720 donkeys. All the people arrived at the place in Jerusalem where the Lord's temple would be rebuilt. Then some of the leaders of the family brought offerings they chose to give. They would be used for rebuilding the house of God. It would stand in the same place it had been before. The people gave money for the work. It is based on how much they had. They gave 1,100 pounds of gold. They also gave 3 tons of silver, and they gave 100 sets of clothes for the priests. All of that was added to the temple treasure. The priests and the Levites made their homes in their own towns. So did the magicians, the men who guarded the gates, and the temple servants. The rest of the Israelites also made their homes in their own towns.